since we kicked it, you been caught up with them bitches. I don't get it, you're a star, love. You shouldn't have to deal with that. I'd never make you feel like that. 'Cause I love me enough for the both of us. That's why you trust me. I know you've been through more than most of us. So what are you so afraid of? Darling, you give but you cannot take love.
Yeah, I needed to hear that shit. I hate when you're submissive, passive aggressive when we're texting. I feel the distance. I look around at peers that surround me. These niggas tripping. I like when money makes a difference, but don't make you different. Started realizing a couple places I could take it. I want to get back to when I was that kid in the basement. I want to take it deeper than money, pussy, vacation, and influence a generation that's lacking the patience. I've been dealing with my dad, speaking of lack of patience. Just me and my old man getting back to basics. We've been talking about the future and time that we wasted. When he put the bottle down, girl, that nigga's amazing. Well, fuck it, we had a couple Coronas. We might have wrote a white paper, just something to hold us. We even talked about you in our couple of moments. He said we should hash it out like a couple of grown-ups. You a flower child, beautiful child, I'm in your zone. Looking like you came from the 70s on your own. My mother is 66, and the favorite line that hit me with is who the fuck wants to be 70 and alone? You don't even know what you want from love anymore. I search for something I'm missing and disappear when I'm bored. But girl, what qualities was I looking for before?
What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode brought to you by the League FFB. Today we're here for another Friday Q&A. Appreciate everybody who is here early in the chat. Frank, Trap, Bryce, KJ, Johnny, Nolan, Insidious, Jonathan, MK, Grizz, Bart, or I guess Bert, sorry, my bad, and Fault. Everybody who is here early, appreciate you guys. Look, man, we got a lot to do today, a lot to talk about, lots of questions in the chat already. Like I said, I appreciate you guys being here early, but let's just not waste any time. Let's hop right into it. I will let you guys know today, like goal, 50 likes. If we can get to 50 likes on the stream, that would be awesome. Do me the favor, hit that like button if you haven't already. And if you want to go above and beyond and support the show, playing over on Underdog is the best way to do it. New customers who sign up, play $5, they get $100 in bonus funds over on Underdog. So that is the best way to support the show. Let's not, keep hitting you with some ads. Let's just get right into this. And first question that I have here is going to be from Trap. He says 10-team Superflex tight end premium. I am 5-4 with CD, Jettas, Adunze, Devonta Smith. Tight ends are Kelsey, Goddard, Mason Taylor. Running backs are HN and ETN. That's it. Quarterbacks are Stroud, Caleb, and Lawrence. Where and how do I improve or sell? Team is mid. So I'm looking at this roster right now. I like what you have at wide receiver. CD, Jettas, Adunze, Smith is good. I would say the tight end position feels old, but I like Mason Taylor there a little bit. If this is my team, I think what I'm trying to do here is probably down tier off of Caleb, trying to down tier HN and trying to move Lawrence straight out, and probably at that point probably get some more depth on the roster. That's probably how I'm going to do it. Is I'm going to down tier Caleb, I'm going to down tier HN, and I'm going to move Lawrence into a different position. Probably move Lawrence over to a running back potentially. So hopefully that helps a little bit. Frank says, I got an offer in redraft to trade away Swift, ETN, Marvin Harrison Jr., Olave, and Vidal, and I received Genty, HN, Addison, Goddard, and Hutchinson. I also have Cook and Bucky in this league. Should I accept? Looking at this offer, I definitely do like the Genty and HN side of the deal. I think those are the two best players potentially in this deal. So definitely happy to go over and get that side of the deal there. Also says, what's Monungai's value in Dynasty? Offer an early to mid second for him, but that's KTC value. Also, is trading away Dobbs for Monungai a fair trade in redraft? Should I start Monungai or Sharps? I think a second round pick is right where Monungai is probably right now at this point in time. So that's probably fair offer. If you're giving an early to a mid 26 second for him, that's probably fair. That's right where it probably should be at the moment. Maybe you can get away with a late second, but I think you're in the second conversation right now. Is Dobbs for Monangai fair in redraft? I think I'd prefer the Monangai side, but it's probably close to fair. And then for Monangai versus Sharps this week, I do like Monangai over Sharps. Bryce says Mac Jones or Mariota. I think I'm going to go with Mac Jones this week. KJ says, should I pivot off of Slayton because of high winds expected on Sunday to play Pop Douglas, sunny Tampa, or roll Slayton out in a good matchup, full PPR? I think I would go with Douglas. With no Kayshon Boutte in this matchup, I think I'm going to go with Douglas there. What do we got here? Bryce says, which 2 tight ends would you roster? Loveland, Fannin, Johnson. I'm going to go with Loveland and Fannin. Those are the 2 that I would have. Wright or Santos? Sorry for the dreaded kicker question. I always got to reference the rankings because I do not know 100% where these guys are in my rankings at all times. Because, like you said, dreaded question. I look at these rankings about once a week when I set them, and that's about the only time. I do have Santos higher. I have Santos higher this week, so I'm going to go with him. Roster 3 of these names. You get Ridley, Godwin, Golden, Reed, Boutte. It's not going to be Godwin. I don't imagine he's going to play too much this year. And I think I'm dropping Golden at this point. So it's probably Ridley, Reed, and Boutte. Kyler and Jaden Blue for T-Law in Dynasty. I'm contending in a 12-man, 6-point passing touchdown. It's a fair deal. If you're contending, you need the points, go for T-Law. I think that's fine. Full PPR, we got Darius Slayton or Tez Johnson. I'm going to go with Tez this week. He's going to be my play. Baker and Garrett Wilson or Daniel Jones. Though Flacco and Nico Collins. Though I'm assuming that's Shuck. So it's Baker and Garrett Wilson or Daniel Jones, Shuck, Flacco, and Nico Collins in a dynasty. 6-point passing touchdown, 12-man. I'm contending, but I like the value with Baker and Wilson. Leaning Wilson over Nico. They're very close. I would say for me, I'm probably just going to go with the Baker and Wilson side as well. So that's probably the side that I would go with here. What else we got? Tracy or Mason. I'm going to go with Tracy this week. Still like him. I think is a better play in this one. Bert says 6-3 in a PPR league. I traded Josh Jacobs, Quinshon Judkins, Rashi, Waddle, and Kittle for JT, Rico, Garrett Wilson, AJ Brown, and Gadsden. What are your thoughts? So looking at this one, I would take JT as the number 1 running back in this. Rico versus Quinshon. I would rather have Quinshon. Garrett Wilson versus Rashi. I think I'd rather have Rashi. Waddle versus AJ. I think I'd rather have Waddle. It's close. It's probably fair there. And then Gadsden for Kittle. I'm going to go with Kittle. So I'll be honest. I think I would rather have the Jacobs, Quinshon, Rashi, Waddle, and Kittle side of this deal. That's the side I would rather have. What's up, man? Appreciate you being here. Galaxy says, trade Addison, JCM, and Hunter Henry for Diggs and Woody Marks. It's fine. It's fair if that's what you want to do. PPR, Metcalf, Dobbs, White. Give me Rashad White, and he would be the play. I'm going to need you to put me on some Drake. I only started liking him to rage bait people during the Kendrick beef, but he actually fire. I just ain't been having the time to listen to full albums. Dude, he's my favorite artist of all time. He's my favorite, well, of all time. Yeah, probably of all time. He's my favorite artist ever. I will definitely put you on. If you have Apple Music, Insidious, I can send something. If you're in the Discord, DM me in the Discord, and I'll shoot you some stuff to listen to. What's up, Shane? What's up, Fantasy Sports Zone? Shane says, why aren't you in Idiot League Mates anymore? That's an office league for BDGE, and I don't work with BDGE anymore, so I think it just made sense naturally to allow that spot to go to somebody else who was going to be involved with that company a little bit more. So no hard feelings with any of those guys. Still talk to some of those guys. Definitely good guys over there, but yeah, just not in the office anymore and not in that company anymore. I actually spend some time with Dynasty Nerds these days, so it's been fun. Oscar says 27 first, Kyron, Dak, or May and J.K. Dobbins. I'm assuming this is a dynasty, and I'm going with May and J.K. Dobbins, I think. How is that Arc game? It's good, man. It's kind of hard. I was playing it a little bit before the stream, but it's kind of hard, but it's definitely fun. We got my brother on it. We got my wife on it. My wife's been playing the game with us. It's been pretty fun. But yeah, it's tough. What's up, man? I have Fannin. Would you roll with him if he's cleared? And if not, would you go in Njoku or someone like Loveland and Otten? I think if I had to pick any of these guys this week, I think I'm playing Otten over all of them. I have a PPR trade offer. I give JT, Garrett Wilson, and Gadsden for HN, Sutton, and McBride. That one's way tough. I think I'm going to go with the JT and Garrett Wilson side here. Otten are likely. I'm going to go with Otten. What's your thoughts on holding 2 to 3 defensive special teams this early before playoffs? I definitely don't want to use all of my roster spots on defenses. Rank these running backs full PPR, rest of season: Breece Hall, Kyron, Judkins, Henderson, Chase Brown, Swift, and ETN. So I'm going to go with probably Kyron, Judkins, Breece, Swift, Chase, ETN, Henderson. That's probably the way that I'm going to do it. What's your outlook for Breece rest of the season? Kind of worried about him. RB2. High upside RB2. I think probably a top 15 guy the rest of the way still for me. Start one flex, full PPR, Rachaad White, Breece Hall, Parker Washington, Loveland. It's going to be Breece for me. Not really that worried at all about him. What's going on, man? Hope all is well. Question, Monungai or Woody this week? Also, thoughts on Chris Rodriguez? I picked him up a few days ago as a stash. I think Chris is fine. Definitely just a stash guy for me right now, but I would go Monungai this week. Full PPR, 2 wide receivers, 1 quarterback. Flowers, Diggs, Tet, Waddle, Hurts, and Dart. So I'm going with Hurts for the QB. The 2 wide receivers, I'm going to go with, I think I'm going to go with Flowers and Waddle. Game's fun, man. Game's fun. I'm definitely enjoying it. JJM or Mariota, Woody or DK in the flex, 6-point passing touchdown in PPR. I'm going to go with JJ McCarthy. I think he scored pretty well last week against the Lions. And then the matchup this week for them is pretty good too. Right now, Baltimore is ranked... where are we? Baltimore's ranked 23rd against the quarterback position, so it should be a decent spot for him. So I'd play him. Woody or DK? I'm going to go with DK in the flex in a PPR league. Otten or Loveland? I'm going with Otten this week. As a Bucky owner, would you drop Tracy or Benson for White? I also have Judkins and Genty. Yes, I would. I think I would drop Tracy for White. I'd be okay dropping either if you need them, but I definitely would be securing White. Start 2 with Henderson, Woody, Kamara. It's going to be Woody and Kamara for me. I think this week, I just don't know what to do with Henderson. I'll be honest, I have him right now in my rankings as my running back. Where are we at? I have him like in the David Monty, Kyle Monungai range. It just feels like Vrabel doesn't want to give him touches. I think really, if you're trying to go for upside, because I think all of these guys have very similar low floors, so I'm going to change my answer for you here. If you're shooting for upside, you play Henderson, and you probably play Kamara. That's the upside play, but all of these guys have very low floors, I think, this week. Let's see. Marks or Kincaid in the flex, starting Shakir as well. I'd probably go with Kincaid still. Trade Puka for CD and Kincaid. I love Puka, but him being injury prone is scary to me. I'm definitely not doing that. I would just rather have Puka because he has been one of the most dominant fantasy assets this year. Dobbs, Malik Washington, or Aaron Jones in a PPR flex. I'm going to go with Dobbs and Aaron Jones. And it kind of bounced back real quick to July. Honestly, anybody who puts on a helmet and pads is prone to get injured or is susceptible to injury. So honestly, the whole injury prone thing, I think it does get a little bit overblown sometimes. I was having this argument the other day with MFGDs from Let's Talk Dynasty. Need 2 this week in PPR. Zay, AJ Brown, and Garrett Wilson. I think for me, I'm going to be benching, because really it's just a question of who do you bench. I think it's going to be... I think it's AJ. I think I'm benching AJ Brown. I'm fairly new to fantasy. Why do people hoard defenses? I don't really know why people hoard defenses. I guess because sometimes it's tough to find a good defense to stream, but I think it's a waste of roster spots if you're spending too many of them on a defense. I'd rather have like running backs and things like that. Trade McBride for London, Kittle, and Goddard. My wide receivers are CD, Waddle, DK, Tet. McBride might skyrocket with Brissett as QB. The team getting McBride is stacked. Saquon, Jacobs, JSN, Puka, and now McBride. It's a lot of value, I think. I mean, I don't care too much about Goddard. It's basically London and Kittle for McBride, which I'm not opposed to it, but if it's a tight end premium, you have to go with the McBride side. Which defense would you want to keep between the Bucks, the Browns, and the Rams? I think I'd rather keep the Browns. Late first worth less than other years seems top heavy. It's a little bit top heavy. We just did a 2026 rookie mock draft today over on Dynasty Nerd. I felt like the draft kind of had a little bit of a cliff at about 10. It was about 10 that it felt like kind of, I was like, all right, I'm not as excited about the rest of these guys. Darnold worth the 28 first in Superflex? Absolutely. Absolutely worth that. Is Caleb and Odunze for Brian Thomas and Justin Herbert something you would consider? I would probably rather have the Caleb and Odunze side. Monungai, Henderson, Vidal, Walker, start 2. It's going to be Monungai, and it's going to be Henderson as the 2 upside shots. Rate the squad. Any moves needed before the fantasy trade deadline. Full PPR. Start 7. Dart, Daniels, Judkins, Brees, Chase, Henderson, Harvey, Charbonnet, JSN, Parker, Washington, Lamb. Where's the rest of this? Egbuka, Loveland, Otten. Good team. It feels like the wide receivers with JSN, Lamb, and Egbuka is really good. After that, it does seem like there's a pretty significant drop-off, obviously, but it's because you have the depth at the running back position. The quarterback position is fine. Tight end is somewhat weak. I think if you really wanted to push it over the edge, you trade one running back for a nice tight end. If T-Mac ends up missing, who would you rather pick up on waivers? Coker, Leggett, Kupp, or Tillman? I think it's going to be Coker for me. Must-win game, need a solid running back too. Do you roll the dice on Blake Corum or the sleeper in Terrell Jennings with Stevenson out? I think I would rather play Terrell Jennings. I feel like I'm more confident in him getting goal line work in that offense. I'm blanking on the rookie's name right now, but with Kendre down, how do you think his snaps will split between Kamara and their rookie running back? Devin Neal? Devin Neal's the guy that you're thinking of. I think he gets a little bit of snaps, but I don't expect him to be fully involved right now, honestly. Monungai, J-Mo, Rashad White, or Woody. Pick one for the flex spot. I'm going to go with Monungai right now. And then Monungai, Tracy, Trevion, and Nico, 2 running backs in a flex. I'm going to go with, let's see. I think I'm going to go with Monungai, Trevion, and Nico. Plus or minus 100 yards for Derrick Henry. I would probably put him at it's a good line. I think I'm going to put them under. Minnesota Vikings have had a really good run defense. I feel like if they're going to beat us, it's probably going to be through the air. So I think the run defense is the best part of the defense so far. Frank Allen says, I don't know why I just full named you, Frank. My bad, bro. Says trade Adams and Garrett for Gibbs. Wide receivers are Chase, Adams, Rice, Addison, Dobbs, Garrett Wilson, and a redraft. I guess it depends on who your running backs are. That's probably fair value, but it does feel heavy in a way. If you have decent running backs, I'm probably just keeping the strong wide receiver core. Never hoard the defenses, waste of bench room. Exactly. I fully agree. Start 3. Must be a wide receiver slot. Wan'Dale Robinson, Shakir, Tetero McMillan, already starting Rico with Vidal and Kamara. So starting 3, one of them has to be the wide receiver. It's going to be Shakir for the wide receiver. I guess really it's T-Mac. I just don't know if T-Mac is going to play after what we heard today with the hamstring injury. So I guess play T-Mac. If he doesn't play in this week's matchup, it's going to be Shakir. And then I would play Vidal and Wan'Dale, I think. Start 3, 2 of them must be wide receiver slots. Pittman, Waddle, Tetero McMillan, Warren, Kamara, and DJ Moore. Okay, so this one is going to be Waddle, and it's going to be Pittman, and then it's going to be Jalen Warren. Messed up one of those questions earlier. Marks, Dobbs, Jones, Parker Washington, start 2 in the flex. Okay, so I think it's going to be Dobbs. I think it's Dobbs and... probably Dobbs and Marks. I think that's where I'm going. Should I drop Isaiah Davis and Ayuk for Nick Chubb, Tootin, Gainwell, Corum, Amari, or Rodriguez named captain this week? Maybe JCM is done. JCM hasn't looked good, man. I would drop... I think I'd drop Isaiah Davis for Corum. I think I'd drop Ayuk for Tootin or Chubb, but I think Tootin. I would be more interested in stashing high-value handcuffs at this point in the season. I think the high-value handcuffs to me would be Corum for a Kyron injury and then obviously Tootin for an ETN injury. Should I drop Mike Evans to pick up a quarterback for next week? Terry and Hampton are in my IR spots. Which QB is best for next week between Dak, Geno, Rodgers, Mariota, Fields, JJ McCarthy? Yeah, I mean, I think you can drop Mike Evans if you need a quarterback. I would probably be picking up Dak, though. Dak would be the pick up and play for me. But I have Javonte already. My Danny Pennies. Yeah, I mean, look, I think it doesn't matter to me if it's Javonte and Dak. I think you're fine. You ever get tired of answering all of these questions? It's like 159. Shit's crazy. No, not really. I mean, I think sometimes, you know, I'm more energetic. That's just life in general. But no, I mean, this is what I want to do. This is like dream for me, is to be able to talk fantasy football all day long as a job. And so, yeah, I never have an issue with this at all. Should I tank at this point? LOL, I'm 9-9 playing against the median in 7th place in a 12-man league. I started Knicks and lost Bucky, Scadaboo, Kraft, Connor, Benson. I mean, the fact that you've battled through that much attrition and you're still in 7th place tells me that you're a pretty solid team. I'd probably stay the course. What the heck? I don't know if you guys heard that. My Apple Watch started talking to me. I probably would stay the course. If anything, I'd probably try and like maneuver and trade Scadaboo for a... I guess I don't know if this is a dynasty. If it is a dynasty, I would try and maneuver a Scadaboo for a player. I would try and maneuver a... I don't know. I think he's the only one you could probably still get people super excited about buying. But I think I would still try and stay the course, honestly. He says my other wide receivers are Puka and Amon-Ra, so I'm not moving them. Yeah, so I don't think tanking would do you any justice. You're already kind of too far into the season to get a top pick, and I just feel like you're too good. So I'd probably just lean into it. Move Scat for a production piece right now. Running backs are Cook, White, Isaiah Davis, Brashard Smith. Not strong. what is that to? That is to the running back of him having Gibbs or wanting to trade for Gibbs. Yeah, if that's your running back room, I don't mind you making that move at all. I don't mind it. And he says Ray Davis and Bam Knight. So yeah, I don't mind that move at all. What's up, Aiden? Johnny says likelihood of King Henry sitting the entire fourth quarter this week. Johnny, look, brother, I like the shit talk. I think the week after JJ McCarthy beats you and the Detroit Lions is probably not the week to shit talk. That's just my thoughts, but hey, what can I say? J-Mo says Kittle or Trey Henderson in Dynasty, no tight end premium. No tight end premium, I'm still going Travion Henderson. Travion Henderson and what to get to Achane, currently negotiating LOL, or Hampton in a second. I think it's probably Hendo and 2 seconds, maybe a first, but I think I'd rather have Hendo in the first if that's the cost. And I think I'd rather have Hampton in the second too. Honestly, I like the down tier. Whoever's getting down tiering off of Achane and getting the extra assets, I like that in that specific scenario. I think anytime you can down tier off of elite running backs and still get young guys that we think are high producers or can be high producers and get a first round pick thrown in or something like that, I think that's definitely something worth doing. Obviously outside of that would be like if you're a super strong contender and you're trying to up tier and win a championship right now, you have the argument. Because I don't think at the end of the day, if you traded Hampton in a second for Achane and Achane wins you a championship, I don't think you're going to be upset about that. But yeah, I always like kind of down tiering off of the elite running backs because every year the top guys are kind of different, or you have the risk of the injuries and things like that. Andrew says it's Dynasty. Yeah, I think that's what I would be doing, is I'd be trying to move off of Scattaboo and probably trying to pivot somewhere else. Could you rate this team just based off of the starters? Dart, Dowdle, Achane, CD, Tetaroa, QJ, McBride, and then you have Hampton and Dobbs in a 12-man PPR redraft, 5-4 right now, and injuries and unstoppable quarterbacks have been screwing me. I think it's a solid team. When I'm looking at it, you probably have had some inconsistency with the running back position too, while Dowdle was dealing with that the Chuba bullshit. Just that's the best way I can say it, is when they were trying to keep throwing Chuba out there like they owed him, something, even though he's clearly being outplayed. So you probably had some variance with that. Obviously, you've had some variance with QJ. Hampton being out hasn't been great, but I think this is a solid team. 1 to 10, I'm going to give it a 7.5. I think 7.5. Johnny, hey, you laid me up. Aiden says, am I naive for still believing in Caleb Johnson? His build, draft capital, and roster competition say he should at least be involved. I don't think you're crazy. I actually feel like he's more of a player where it may just be next year that he's more involved in the offense, has a little bit bigger of a role. And if that's the case, then I think that's still a fine pick. There isn't really... honestly, I feel like if you could think of how Tank Bigsby went originally, I think that was probably the case that could be made for Caleb Johnson. It wasn't an elite prospect, but it was a good prospect. Day 2 draft capital, didn't get involved as a rookie. Year 2, Tank Bigsby was involved in that offense and he had a role. I think that could be Caleb Johnson. Do you think Dante Moore is ready for the NFL? Looks like he will stay with Oregon for another year. I think he is ready for the NFL. If I had to say today where he would be in the quarterback conversation, it's probably going to be like QB 1 to 3 range, I think, right now for Dante Moore. It would be him, Ty Simpson, and Fernando Mendoza. Those are like the top quarterbacks in the class for me at this point in time. But this quarterback class has not cemented itself by any means for me. I think there could still be a lot of change to it. The fact that we have so many guys, and it does feel like it changes every single week, tells me that it's probably not the greatest quarterback class either. But it's better than last year with Dart and Ward, and I think we should be all right. But we'll see. I think the class is really good at the wide receiver position. Love the wide receiver position for this class, though. Who do you prefer in Week 10, Dart or Caleb? Right now, in my rankings, I do have dart one spot above Caleb. He's my quarterback 8. Caleb Williams is my quarterback 9. Dynasty, I offered a 2028 first and a 2027 third for Devonta. He countered with Monangai instead of a 27 third. Should I counter with a 28 second? I don't want to give up Monangai. Running backs are Gibbs, Monangai, Sharps, and Stevenson. Okay, so let's see. 28 first and 27 third for Devonta. I don't think that's awful. Doing the 28 first and Monangai for Devonta, I don't think that's bad. I would rather give up. I think I would rather give up Monangai than the second, but I get, given your running back situation, you want to keep him. So I'm okay with you doing the 28 second and the first, but I think he probably needs to throw you a third back as well. So it's probably got to be a move back. It's a first and you're getting a third with Devonta and he's getting the second. Hopefully that makes sense. A 1 and 2 for Devonta and a third. That's probably the way that I would try and do it, is talk him into the move back. Let's see. I predict within 3 years the FBI will be heavy into game fixing in the NFL. I don't disagree with it at this point in time. I think sports are screwed right now with everything that we've been seeing, and the NFL dropping from Penn or their partnership with Penn and then going to DraftKings 8 years early or whatever. That's, I don't know, that's a weird thing in itself. Donta Moore going to be the next Brady Trust. My Ducks people right there, huh? Gibbs, Monangai, Sharps. That was his running backs. Shaheed, a flex this week. Nah, I'm not playing him, I don't think. But maybe. I mean, if you need him, sure. I need to see it first for a week. I'm the one tearing down. Your advice is really helping, brother. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. What's Caleb Johnson's value? I think he, right now, honestly, if anybody can get a third-round pick, I think that's where he's at. I don't think anybody's giving you a second for him. If you can sell him for a second, I think I'm just re-rolling and getting a second next year and just redoing it again. Vikings score predictions. I don't know what the score is going to be. I just kind of have this gut feeling. I had a feeling last week that we could be in that game with the Lions. Just divisional games feels like they're always close. I kind of feel like Lamar Jackson's about to whoop our ass. Like I feel like Lamar's back coming out party. Like it's not really a coming out party, but like you get what I'm saying. He hasn't played a lot this year, and I have a feeling he's gonna kind of go nuclear. That's just my thoughts. Roman a 28 first for Igbuka. I'll take Igbuka if I'm trying to contend. I'm taking Roman the first if I'm not anywhere near contention. Is it safe to say Caleb Johnson was a wasted pick? I don't know if I would say wasted. I would probably say certainly overdrafted. Certainly overdrafted. May, A.J. Brown, Lamb, Tez, Franklin, Worthy, Kamara, Henderson, Pollard, Woody, Bucky, Spears, Ferguson, and Tyler Warren. What are your thoughts? And then I will tell you my record. Okay, so looking at this team, I'm going to assume that your record isn't that good. Because May, Ferguson, Warren are probably the only players that have given you consistent production all year. Lamb dealt with injury. Bucky dealt with injury. Kamara's been underwhelming. Henderson's been underwhelming. Pollard's been underwhelming. Worthy kind of got nuked when Rice came back. Franklin hadn't broke out until later. Tez wasn't until later. A.J. Brown missed some time, and he was underperforming a little bit. I'm going to guess that this team, let's see, you are 9 weeks into the season now. I'm going to say you're 3-6 or you're 4-5. You're one of those two records, and I'm going to say that this team, as respectfully as possible, probably doesn't have a chance to win it this year. Based off of that, I think May, Lamb, Bucky, AJ, and Warren is good enough that you can win some games, but I don't think you have enough firepower to win it all. Damn. He said a record is 1-8. I thought it was going to be bad. I thought 3-6 was like, all right. But yeah, it was bad. There's the variance too, though. Sorry, man. Mayer Hurts, also Adams, Igbuka, Jennings, PPR, pick one, thanks. So I do have May over Hurts in my rankings this week. So give me Drake May. And then I'm going to go with Adams. I'm going to go with Adams as the play. Unintentionally loading up in 2026 picks. Here's my thing. If you're a rebuilding roster, getting a couple of these 2026 picks and loading up on some of the wide receivers in this class specifically, I think Jordan Tyson, Mekhi Lemon, Carnell Tate are really good options. I really like Jeremy Bernard too out of Bama. I think he's a really solid player. Chris Bell out of Louisville is a really solid player as well. You still have guys like KC Concepcion, who's a really good player. Who else am I missing? Chris Brazel's solid. Like, there's some really good wide receiver players to pick in this class. If you wanted a tight end, I think Kenyon Sadiq is a very good player in this class at the tight end position out of Oregon. Quarterbacks, you may be able to take some shots. Obviously, Jeremiah Love is a good player. Justice Haynes is a good player for me outside of Michigan. But outside of those two guys, maybe Jonah Coleman. But solid class, but the wide receivers are going to be the strength. And then next year in 2027, I think you're going to have a lot of options to draft from. Horton, Barner, Cup, all out this week. Who is it besides JSN and Shaheed? Arroyo. Arroyo is probably going to be one of the guys involved. And then outside of that, do we get the rise of Jake Bobo again? But no, it's probably JSN, Shaheed, Arroyo. Those are going to be the guys probably mixed in. And then probably lean on the running backs a little bit. Goff or Darnold? I currently have Darnold 3 spots below Goff. So I got Goff as a QB 10, Darnold is 13. Lamar is coming. I think he's going to have a really good end of the year for fantasy. Dynasty dumpster fire we all need is Jason. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think Arroyo should be pretty solid. Sadiq fan, I like that, man. What are the strongest positions for the 2027 class? I don't joke when I say this. Every fucking position is going to be stacked. And I'll be honest, too. I think there's a lot of players in this 2026 class that are going to go back. I wouldn't be surprised if Donta Moore, who's one of the top quarterbacks in this class, goes back. I wouldn't be surprised if Ty Simpson from Bama goes back. Wouldn't be surprised if we got a couple of these other players to go back as well. And if that's the case, 27 is going to be so loaded. We're going to get probably first-round type of talents that we would typically see, as first-round rookie picks in the early to mid-second round of 2027 drafts. So I think all of it is really strong. If I had to say the strongest position in 27, it's the wide receiver as well. You got Jeremiah Smith, Ryan Williams, Cam Coleman. There's lots of really good players at that position. The running backs are probably the weakest in 27 as well. I think it's kind of a weak point. Maybe the QB is the weak point in this year's class, but it's the next couple of years, man, it's just wide receivers. So what that tells me for Dynasty is if you're a rebuilding team, land a couple of these rookie wide receivers, draft a couple of these rookie wide receivers, maybe not, put all your chips in on some of these rookie QBs in 2026. If you can pivot from a guy like, maybe you can move a late first around draft time when the buzz is around, and you can move that for a younger quarterback like a McCarthy, or maybe you can move it for a young quarterback like, I don't know, you got to throw some stuff on top of it, get to Jordan Love, whatever. Maybe do something like that. And then when you're getting to the end of your rebuild, trade for the running backs, because I don't love a lot of the running backs coming out over the next couple of years. Jeremiah Love's going to be a superstar. I love Jeremiah Love, but you're going to have to use a top 3 pick in 2026 if you want him on your rosters, I think. Other than that, though, like I said, Justice Haynes could be a bell cow, probably going to be a top 10 pick in rookie drafts in 2026. And then 2027, like I said, still needs some work at the running back position. It's too early with the running backs to really know in 27 who's going to be the guy. But overall, like I said, load up on these wide receivers in the draft class and then trade for the rest of the stuff. I'll be honest, this Jeremiah Smith-Glaze got to stop. I'd put clamps on him with eyes closed. Brother, I would probably pay to go see you try and guard him right now. I'd love to see that. Is there any good O-line in this draft class? It actually does have some really good offensive linemen in this draft class as well. I think there's 2 or 3 of them already projected as like top 10 picks. So should be some solid ones. Jeremy, what's up, man? Blessings to you too. Jason says, would you trade Lamar and AJ Brown for Saquon and Charbonnet? I already have Jackson Dart. No, don't think I would. I think I would rather, I don't think I would. I think I would rather have Lamar rest of season than Jackson Dart. Are you aggressively moving Neighbors on a contender or just backfilling and sticking him on IR? I have had a few offers for him, but I can't make myself trade. The guy. He's too good and so young. I think if you're going to be trading Malik Neighbors, you got to come to me with something elite. And most people are not going to want to do that, I don't think. So I do kind of agree with the aspect of I'm going to backfill and put him on IR. I'll tell you the list of players I would accept for Neighbors. If I'm getting Chase, I'm doing it. JSN, I'm doing it. Puka, Jefferson, Amon-Ra, Lamb. Those would be the guys that I would consider. Outside of that, I would consider maybe Egbuka as well, but that's about it, man. Maybe you could talk me into Rice in a first, London in a first, but I don't think people are paying that. That's what I'm saying. So I think I am going to backfill it. I think you can get some cheap production on a contending roster. Not cheap, but good production by maybe moving a late first and going to get Devonta Adams and maybe doing that with an A.J. Brown, doing it with a Chris Olave, a Jalen Waddle. I would do something like that and try and just backfill. Unless I could get one of those elite assets. Will Reichard or Badgley? I do have... Hold on. Badgley, higher than Reichard. I'm a little worried about Monangai with Swift taking the goal line work and not playing the Bengals. I don't think we know 100%. Did we get 100% confirmation that Swift is going to be in this week? Let me look it up. Because I heard he was still questionable and dealing with some stuff. Yeah, he's questionable now, dealing with a personal thing this year or this week, so I don't know, man. I feel like he's probably not gonna play a bunch. I'm gonna go still with Monangai. And Monangai, I know you said he's not playing the Bengals. He's playing the Giants this week, which also means great things because the Giants are ranked second to last. The Bengals were ranked dead last. The Giants are ranked second to last. Jackson Dart and Matthew Stafford rest of season. I'm going to take Jackson Dart. The rushing upside is insane, and I think he's just been so good since becoming the starter. How does the 2027 class compare to the 2025 class in a fantasy sense? I feel like this year got some rookie ballers, but I don't remember a draft class getting as much hype as the 27 class. I think the class that saw similar would be 2024. 2024 with May and Daniels and McCarthy, Nix, Caleb, all of those guys. Like, that class was really hyped, and I think it's because of the quarterbacks were so good. You also had some really good wide receivers in that class as well. Like, I think this is closer to 2024, but all of the superstar talents feel like they're coming from the wide receiver position and the running back position And you still have guys that have shown stuff like Raiola in Nebraska. He's shown some flashes. I think Julian Sayin from Ohio State's shown some flashes. So it's a very solid class. How would it compare to 2025? I think better. I think it's a better class than 2025. I feel way more confident in 2027 than I did 2025. Neighbors was dropped in one of your leagues. That's a keeper league. That's nice. That's nice. Insidious says, who's your MVP so far? Considering draft cost and production, I think about 3 names come to mind. I would say JSN comes to mind, Puka comes to mind, and Jonathan Taylor comes to mind. But if I had to give it to somebody today, it's Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor's my fantasy MVP right now. I kind of agree. I agree. And it was for a personal reason, like I said, but I kind of agree. Yeah, I think that doesn't fully matter for the most part. I got Marks on my bench in a 0.25 points per carry. Demo, Monangai, and Quinshon Judkins were in the flex for Mariota in the super flex. Hold on. Got Marks on my bench. Demo, Monangai, and Quinshon Judkins are in. Johnny, I think I'm lost here, brother. I'm trying to make sense of this. Johnny, I'm gonna need you to help me here. Didn't know about Swift. Sorry for him, but good news for my fantasy team. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. If he misses time, Monangai's a really high-end type of starter. I didn't see if you saw this, but what 2 tight ends are you rostering? Theo, Juwan, Fannin, Loveland. Yeah, I'm gonna roster Fannin and Loveland in full PPR. T. Higgins for T-Law, 1 for 1. What are your thoughts? Fair deal. I probably would lean T. Higgins, though. 12-team Superflex, PPR start 10. Quarterbacks are May, Herbert, Darnold, Bijan, Jacobs, Brees, Dowdle, Harvey. Wide receivers are CD, Neighbors, London, Garrett, Wilson, Tet, Burden. Tight ends are Bowers and Gadsden. Trade my only first, early to mid, for Travis Hunter. No. I'll be honest. I think Jordan Tyson, I'm assuming your only first, it being early to mid, I'm assuming you're going to get one of these wide receivers. I think Jordan Tyson is a better wide receiver. This is going to get me flack. People are going to not like what I say here, but I don't care. I'm going to tell you what I believe. I think Jordan Tyson's a better wide receiver than Travis Hunter. I think Carnell Tate is a better wide receiver than Travis Hunter. So that said, I think you're going to be able to get one of those players at least in that early to mid. And also, I do believe that Jeremiah Love is a better player than Travis Hunter. So you're going to get one of those guys no matter what. So yeah, I'd probably keep the first. Would you play Monangai over ETN, whether Swift plays or not? Houston D is good. I think if Swift plays, I'd rather play ETN. T-Law has fallen off so hard. Did he ever arrive is my question. Like, did he ever arrive? Just traded Johnston for Harvey in a PBR league. I don't mind that at all. Don't mind that at all. You think JD5 is out the rest of the year? Saw the report saying he's not even going on IR. I don't know, man. I saw him get dropped in my home league, and it's a Superflex league. And I have Jalen Hurts and Jordan Love past their bye weeks already. And I'm thinking of stashing Jaden Daniels just in case, because I could see a scenario where in the fantasy playoffs, I'm playing Jaden Daniels over Jalen Hurts. I mean, not Jalen Hurts, over Jordan Love. And I'm going with Jalen Hurts and Jaden Daniels every week. Trade away Javonte and Zay for James Cook and JCM. I would rather have Javonte and Zay. Appreciate it, Johnny. Don't trade for T-Law. I don't blame you. I've traded away T-Law everywhere. You playing Loveland and Fannin this week with the weather? Yeah, I don't mind it, I don't think. I haven't heard enough about it to make me super nervous. So yeah, I probably would. Where do you have London rest of season? Bro's a dog. Let's see. Rest of season rankings. Right now, I got Drake London as my wide receiver 7 the rest of the way. Super chat from Insidious. Insidious, appreciate you, dude. He says prime Andrew or current day Mike Tyson. Prime Andrew, you know, a couple fights under the belt back in the day when I was a little hoodlum. But yeah, I'm taking Mike Tyson all day, every day, man. I ain't doing that. I know they just saw, who was it? Jake Paul. Jake Paul fought Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson still looked like he could throw a punch. So yeah, I'm not fighting Mike. Fuck that. Appreciate the super chat though, Insidious. Aiden says Carnell Tate is so good. Dude, he reminds me so much of, it's going to sound crazy because I think it's going to sound lazy, I think, actually, because of the helmet that they all wore. But that play style of Carnell Tate, he's really good against the sideline, tall receiver, good zone beater. Just feels like a player that, and maybe this is also just because Ohio State trains them this way, grooms them this way, but it's the Egbuka type of wide receiver talent. So we'll see if the situation is as good as Egbuka's was, because Egbuka got into a situation that I think on draft day a lot of people didn't like, myself included, and then came around to it thankfully before the breakout happened. But I think a lot of people didn't realize it until the breakout happened that the landing spot was actually good. Hopefully Tate gets a similar situation, but right now I think Carnell Tate is a top 20-ish wide receiver pick in the NFL draft. And I say top 20-ish, like a top 20 pick in the NFL draft, and he's going to be a very big contributor for fantasy football teams, I think almost year one. Thanks for taking your time and answering all these questions in such detail. You're the best in the game, Andrew. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Logan says, made a trade. He asked me to push it through early. I'm the commish. Came back later saying he didn't realize which picks he was getting and he wanted better. Told him to pound sand. Yeah, look, I kind of agree with that. You can't tell me to push it through fast and then be like, oh shit, never mind. There was some motive there for him to want to push it through. I'd say if it's pushed through, it's done, man. A trade made is a trade played. I don't know. I try to put a little thing there, but you get what I'm saying. I'd have told him the same thing. Sorry, if it's made, it's made. Trade Brees and Godwin for Henry, W or L. Yeah, I'd rather have Derrick Henry the rest of the way. I think that's fine. All right, folks. So we are caught up right now. Appreciate everybody who's been here tonight asking questions. I'm willing to go for about 10 more minutes. We usually go for about an hour. We're at 53 minutes, so I guess that would be about 7 more minutes. But if everybody's kind of questioned out, we've answered all the questions. I appreciate that and have no issue with that. But let me know if you guys have any other questions. Drop them in the chat. If not, let me know you guys are chilling and we can do what we got to do. Let's see. Logan says, I sent him a later pick just to smooth things over. Probably a good thing to do. Don't burn the trade bridge. I like that. Now, I will remind you guys, too, at home, if you want to support the show, best way to do it is by playing over on Underdog. New customers who have never played on Underdog and use promo code LeagueFFB when they sign up, submit $5, or I guess play $5, you get $100 extra in bonus funds that they give you right away. So I do think that's a pretty good incentive from them. And like I said, it does support the show. So if you've never tried it, low risk, go over there and try it. Promo code LeagueFFB is the promo code to use, and it does directly support the show. A couple questions before we get on out of here. See him coming in. Dynasty says, how you feeling about Tet as a dynasty asset? I love Tet, man. I love Tet. I think he's a really talented wide receiver. The situation there in Carolina obviously isn't the greatest, but he's still producing. I don't see any reason why he shouldn't be viewed as a top 12 dynasty wide receiver right now. And I'm very comfortable with him as a talent moving forward. If that quarterback situation gets any better over the course of the next couple of years, I think he could really blossom. So very good player right now. I think wide receiver 2, love it. How big of a gap between Javonte and Bijan? What do you think you need to add to trade for him? I'm assuming this isn't a redraft. The gap between them right now is probably pretty substantial. I think from a perspective wise, what do you have to add? You're probably going to have to add at minimum a really high-end wide receiver too. I would imagine that most people who have Bijan aren't moving him unless you're giving like Javonte and I don't know, probably like a Rome. Like that's probably the type of talent you have to throw on top of Javonte to get to Bijan. But you could make an argument that that's not worth the upgraded cost to just play Javonte and Rome in your lineup every week. Start JJ or Lawrence. I think I'd rather start JJ, honestly, especially with how banged up the Jags are, that defense that they're playing against with Houston. I'd rather play JJ. Jackson Dart or Matthew Stafford the rest of the way. I would rather go with Jackson Dart. I think has more rushing upside, and I like the fantasy points that he keeps scoring right now. He says, also, I was wrong about JJ. Look, first of all, I don't know whether or not you were wrong or not, because I still believe, as a Vikings fan, as a fantasy analyst, fantasy analysis, I would say he isn't solidified good or bad yet. And I can say that very, being constructively critical of him. So I don't know if we can say whether he's good or bad yet. We've seen flashes of good. We've seen flashes of bad. And I think right now he's definitely shown that he can score fantasy points. Obviously, the surrounding cast is great. So I definitely think there was way too many people immediately that wanted to bury him. I think as an NFL quarterback, and two, as a fantasy asset, those two things don't always walk, hand in hand. I think in all aspects of life, we've seen in parts of life where being a bad NFL quarterback can still produce good fantasy football points. So again, like I said, I don't think there's anything really there to tell you whether or not he's good or bad, but I've seen the flashes, but I think there was too many people that wanted to bury him way too early. And there's going to be people that do it all the time. If he goes out there and has a mediocre game or a bad game against the Baltimore Ravens, there's going to be people again telling you that it's the end of JJ McCarthy and he was a bust all along and it was bad or whatever. And then he's going to go have a good game, and then NFL is going to be posting highlight clips. So like, this is going to be the hot and cold of JJ McCarthy. He's polarizing for whatever reason it may be. But I like that. It is what it is, man. Top 3 CODs of all time: Black Ops 2, Black Ops 1, and I kind of stopped playing after Black Ops 3. I kind of liked Call of Duty Ghosts too, by the way. The campaign there. Start 2 players at the flex in a PPR league. Who do I choose? Kamani Vidal, Parker Washington, Thomas and Hunter out, Devin Singletary, Kadon, Rashid Shaheed. I'm going to go Vidal, and I'm going to go with Washington. And then I'm going to try and speed through the rest of these questions because I know I said I was going to wrap this up. Frank says, like and share the video. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you. And yes, go ahead and hit that like button, folks. Johnny says, sell Tet. So there you go. The guys in the league are being difficult. LOL. What wide receiver and what to get to Achan? It's tough for me to tell. Fantasy analyst? Yeah, we'll see. That's probably what Fantasy Receipts would consider every fantasy analyst or content creator. My bad. That's what everyone... It's apparently sometimes it's bad to say fantasy analyst. Whatever. Also, is trading away Olave and Henderson in Dynasty a fair trade? I'm heavy on wide receivers and I'm 4 and 5. I don't think it's bad. If you're heavy on wide receivers, you need running backs, that's fine for me. Stafford, Dart, or Love this week. Give me... Where do I have him? Give me Stafford. Sell Baker for Rice. In a 2 QB league, probably would rather have Baker. For a quick $1 million, do you think you can pass for 100 yards in an NFL game with last year's All-Pros going against the current Bengals defense? You play the whole 4 quarters like a normal game. I'm having the offensive coordinator call like screenplays. And if I'm using all pros, I'm trusting that they can go out there and break off, a couple big plays in a 4-quarter game. So I'm going to take my shot. Yes, I think I can throw 100 yards because I'm giving it to them behind the line of scrimmage, and they're just going. They're going. It's a forward pass, obviously. I have to get the passing yards, but it's going to be just little screenplays. Trade Pickens for Kyron. I would probably rather have Kyron. Is Benson stock higher with Brissett under center? Too early to know. We'll see what Benson's role is when he comes back. Black Ops 2 got to be a top 5 game all time for me. I agree. The zombies on there was great. Start 2 players, the flex. I think we answered this one. It's going to be Vidal. It's going to be Parker Washington for me. What's up, Donovan? Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, Insidious. We'll see you next time. Quorum or JCM? I'm going to go with JCM reluctantly. BO1 and BO2, the best CODs ever. Agreed. Donovan, we're doing good tonight. Appreciate you. How are you doing? Hopefully everything's going well. Cam X with the last question of the night says, I traded Higgins for Igbuka in my Dynasty League because the guy is a big T Higgins guy and isn't certain on Igbuka yet. What do you think? I think that guy might be an idiot, honestly, and that might be the best way to wrap this one up. Congratulations to you for getting Igbuka. Folks, if you could do me the favor before we get on out of here tonight, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, show the stream some love, show the channel some love. Go check out some of the other content if you liked what you heard here tonight. But other than that, I have nothing else for you guys today. We will see you on our next episode. Tomorrow, the Dynasty Trade Review Show is out, and Sunday, international game again. Wake up, set those alarms, get your ass up, and meet me here for a Sunday live stream. But nothing else for you today. I'll see you on the next one. Until then, peace out, man.